Runners Only with Dom Harvey.
Runners Only with Dom Harvey and Campbell Johnstone. G'day, mate. How are you?
Good, thanks, Dom. Yourself?
Yeah, very well. Thank you so much for coming over for an episode.
No, thank you for the invitation. It's been great.
First of all, former front rower. What the hell do you know about running? You run these days? Actually, you do look like a runner these days, but you didn't back in the day.
No, yeah, I've lost a lot of weight. I guess I just went back to my normal size. As my mother says, she now thinks she's got her son back. Now I've lost all my weight because, I was always never a huge man when I was growing up or when I was starting off with rugby. But to play the position and play in the sport, you've got to put some size on. So that was what I had to do.
Yeah, because you were a prop.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
So your playing weight was?
My playing weight was between 110 to 113 kilos.
And what are you now? Who's sitting in front of me?
So 86 kilos.
So you're like the same as me. That's like a completely different person.
Yeah.
There's been a lot that's been happening for you since January 30th this year when you did that 7 Sharp interview with Hilary. Had you heard the phrase "glow up" before then?
No.
It's big on TikTok. I'm guessing you're not huge on TikTok.
No, I'm not on TikTok yet, but I hadn't heard the phrase that. But the interview was really
compliment,
good. Yeah, the interview was really good, and full compliments to Hilary Barry. She just made it so easy. Like she's just this ultimate professional, and she just made it very relaxed and very comfortable, and just wonderful for me to be able to do that with her.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so excited to get into all that. By the way, for anyone that isn't sure of the phrase "glow up," it's basically when you get better looking with age.
That's a compliment.
Well, you don't look like a front rower anymore. I suppose that's what people mean. All right, now, how close are you with Kieran Reid, one of the greatest All Black captains of all time?
Reasonably close.
Yep.
It depends on what you're going to read out. They might change my opinion.
I sent Kieran Reid a message yesterday saying I was catching up with you and asking if he had any goss. He refers to you as CJ.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that what your name was within the team circles? Yeah. Okay. Awesome to have CJ come on. Yep, we crossed over for a couple of years. Oh, we'll ask Corey Flynn, who knows him a bit better, who might have a few yarns. So Corey Flynn, he was an All Black at the same time as you. Played about, I think, 17 tests over a number of years.
Yeah, so Corey and I were, we played a lot of rugby together, both when we were age grade stuff, and then in the Crusaders and then Canterbury and a couple of rep teams as well, the juniors and things like that. So yeah.
Does it make you your palms getting sweaty there?
Well,
Corey Flynn may have passed on.
I wasn't too concerned when you said Kieran Reid because I knew Kieran.
Nicest guy.
Yeah, nice guy. But when you mentioned Corey's name, then I was like, oh, hang on a minute, the whole thing's changed here.
Yeah.
Dom's ambushed me with this one.
So Kieran Reid went on to say, to be honest, CJ was probably the last person you'd think that would be gay. He enjoyed the drinking, putting on social events with a few other boys. His flat with Scott Hamilton was where all the parties were at. Knowing now, it must have been bloody hard for him, but to me at the time, he was just a great teammate who seemed to enjoy the booze more than others.
Right.
Now, I was thinking about that earlier this morning before you came in. And have you had therapy over the years at all? You've been done therapy? No. I've done a bit of therapy. So when you've done a bit of therapy, you tend to, at least I do, I tend to think, how would a therapist frame this? Mm-hmm. So maybe this is just completely overthinking it. But there's two ways that I looked at it. Maybe you were drinking a lot at the time because you were masking, or maybe like you were just doing what you could to be the definition of what you thought like a big manly man was. Like being a front rower, being a successful rugby player, drinking a lot of piss.
Yeah, I mean, people have asked that and brought that up before, but to be honest, you think about the time that I was playing and the time I was coming through, there was this transition from where it was amateur to professional. And amateur and at the time and then the new professional still involved a lot of partying and a lot of good times. And the drinking was, not actually to mask anything, but it was just because we were having fun. Like it was a part of the so-called culture, which as the years went on, it's slowly, it's toned down. It's had to because it's a professional sport. But it was more so because of the fun aspect than really any masking. I mean, masking and getting drunk maybe I would have just spilt something out or yelled something out or just, so I don't think it was masking, It was more fun.
Sorry, that's just me psychoanalyzing without any formal qualifications at all.
Everyone loves a good time.
Yeah. Rito went on to say he sent a follow-up text this morning saying, sorry, mate, got nothing out of Flinney. He said they weren't fit for broadcast. Have a good chat. Well, do you want to spill the tea on that one? Can you think of any story that wouldn't be fit for broadcast?
No, everything was pretty tame. I think we just enjoyed a nice pint at the pub and after a game, and then and everyone went home. And
that end. No further questions. Yeah. Okay. Now. I need to warn you. Like, I may ask some dumb questions, and if or when I do, please know that I'm not trying to be a dumbass. I'm just curious. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So Monday, the 30th of January this year, 7 Sharp interview with Hilary Barry. Talk us through the process, like leading up to that. Like, when, who did you speak to? When did you decide to do it with 7 Sharp? What was that process?
So a bit of a backstory is that. There's always media that was always asking and going to Joe Malcolm and they always knew. And
Who's Joe Malcolm?
Joe Malcolm was the media liaison officer for the All Blacks, and at the time when I was in Canterbury and Crusaders, she was media liaison there. So she's been a massive help and a big support. And they always would come and ask and say, we know it. We know there's Campbell is a gay All Black. Can we publish it and that? And it was always shut down because for me it wasn't. I didn't feel right in myself or secure in myself to do that. I wasn't happy with myself, so for me it wasn't the right time. And then last year I spoke with Rob Nichol from the Players Association, and we had a discussion around this whole idea and how much it could really help people out there and and people struggling with this, and I honest and naively just thought, well, I don't think it can. I'm pretty happy where my life is and that, and I am comfortable, but I don't think I can really help. It's just, it's just little old me. Don't really have much.
You are little now.
Yeah, exactly. Don't really have much to offer. And then we talked more about it, and it did become apparent that there is, it could actually help. And then so Rob and I structured a little way that we thought would be best, which was just visiting the Super Rugby teams and telling a story, and that was it. And then if the media caught on to it, then that would be good. If they didn't, we just keep trucking along. But then we thought we better bring in Joe Malcolm just to get a professional bit of advice on the media aspect. And Joe basically said, we're a little crazy doing it that way, and it's not really the best way. And in short words, she just said, you guys are just so stupid. And and then she said, look, we want to actually just front the media and kind of pay them back the respect that they showed me and Joe by not outing me at the time.
Oh, but come on, like outing someone when they're not ready is like it's a fucking sin. It's a terrible thing to do.
It is, but someone could have done it.
Yeah,
and someone could have easily done it. And so the respect there, she said we just make a public story. Contact Hilary, ask if she's interested, and we do it that way. And that way they all can have it, and they can do what they like with it. And so that was the plan. So Joe contacted Hilary. Hilary jumped on it, and the rest is what you saw.
So how long, it was a pre-recorded interview, so how long before the 30th of January was it recorded?
So we recorded it on the Monday morning of the 30th of January, and then it went live that night.
Oh, so you didn't have like weeks to sit and tune over it?
No,
okay.
It was straight away, and there was a couple of thoughts behind that. One was, I think Hilary and that didn't want it leaking. We had to keep it, very secret from a lot of avenues, and it was just going to be coming straight away, bang, bang.
So it sounds like it was like the worst kept secret. You said some media had been sort of hounding the NZRU for years.
Yeah.
So it's a strange thing, isn't it? Because I used to work with a guy called Mike Peru, who we worked together, did a breakfast show for years and years and years, and he came out on the air one day, but I mean, he wasn't really in the closet before that anyway, in the respect that his family knew, his friends knew, all his workmates knew, but he just had that final step to, like, I suppose, be honest with his radio audience. Sounds like it was sort of the same with you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, it was like the final step just to have closure. You know, you no longer have that cloud hanging over your head, even though your family, your friends, your teammates, everyone knows, and it's all old news, but just to, you know, lay to rest of that final piece, and it does give you yourself peace.
You feel lighter?
Yeah, you do. You know, you have final closure on the matter, and the other thing was, you know, we can possibly help people, and even when we talked, and even if it was just helping one person, you know, then it's been rewarding. But the real sense of it, it's actually helped a lot of people by all the messages and that I've received from people who have left the game of rugby or left a sport because they didn't feel included, or they didn't feel that they were a part of it because they struggled with their sexuality. Now they're actually thinking to coming back into that sport, either as a fan or a spectator, or you know, getting back involved in actually playing that sport, which is really cool, and it's something really rewarding for everyone. You know, if people are considering to come back into sport.
Oh, 100%, 100%. So the story goes to where you're sitting at home watching it with your partner. Who else? You have like a room full of people, or just the two of you?
No. So we.
How are you feeling? You shitting yourself?
No, I wasn't really. I mean, because Hilary just made it so easy. That was the beauty of it.
Yeah, but that's one thing. You do the interview with Hilary, but then it's like, okay, it's time for it to go to air, and now everyone's going to see it.
Yeah. No. So we were just in the hotel room in Christchurch. We watched the interview, and it was like, okay. I sort of probably hid under the bed while the interview went, and then we went out and had a couple of drinks with a few friends that we'd organised, and that was it, really.
And then what? Your phone's blowing up. Like what? Yeah, I mean, like what happened that evening? Like obviously you felt different yourself, like it's a massive sort of weight off your shoulders. But what was the external reaction like?
The external reaction was incredible. Like it spread around the world like wildfire. Like the phone was just pinging all day, all night, just kept non-stop of people. You know, once when Europe woke up and were seeing the story, because
like on the Guardian and things.
Yeah, because the all the media outlets just ran with it, like BBC, CNN. I mean, and for me, like I didn't really think it would spread that far. I was probably again naive. I thought maybe we'd hit the New Zealand public in a mass, and then maybe in a greater international sense we might hit the Australian rugby public. I thought that may have that would have been about it, but it wasn't. And funny enough, Rob and Joe, they both knew it was going to go wildfire, but they didn't tell me that, and they just told me that when I said, we might just do New Zealand, and they were like, you might, and I was like,
no such thing anymore, right? You do one,
they're like, this kid has no idea.
Campbell hasn't heard of the internet.
And the other thing is, because I've always been naturally quite a shy and reserved person, that they probably knew if they told me that it was going to go like that I'd probably run for the hills and hide again.
Yeah, do you think, I mean, obviously it's been like a positive reaction, and there's been so much love and so much support and all of that, but if they said to you, it's going to be massive, everyone around the world's going to know about it, and people are going to reach out from you that you don't know from a bar of soap, do you think you would have maybe not done it?
No, I joke about that, but I still would have, because I was, I'd made my mind up. I talked with my partner and everything, and we were very happy to do it. And I had the strong belief, and I said to Joe and Rob, we don't want to just open the door and then walk away. And we want to open the door and stand by it, and that's how we're going to get real traction to help people, by standing by there and supporting people as they need, or just getting out there more.
And did you hear from any old teammates?
Yeah, I heard from a lot of them. I mean, they all...
Did they know?
All of them knew, so they all just... And the things I heard from them was message of support and just comments, like they know how private I am and things like that, and they just would say like, well done, it's a really good move, you've done well, and considering how private you are, and so that was nice.
Yeah, why are you so private? Is it just how you've been?
It's just
do
how
you
I've been.
think you've changed as you got older and more comfortable in your own skin?
No, I think I still am pretty reserved and pretty private. I guess I just grew up in the stranger danger situation. Parents just brought me up well to be stranger danger, keep away from people. I've always been very reserved and very quiet. But I think once I get talking and that, I open up a bit more.
Yeah. Oh no. Well, given that you're a private guy, I do appreciate you coming on the podcast today.
No, it's quite all right. It's good. It's awesome.
And did I know I appreciate it because like as you said, like from doing the TV thing and from doing things like this. By the way, I promised I said to myself this morning, I said, maybe a third maximum will be about the sexuality because you're so much more than just that. But it's real fascinating stuff.
Right.
And it's,
it's all right. You just ask what you like.
Okay.
It's all good.
And again, if it's a dumb question, tell me it's a dumb question and we'll move on. Did any other All Blacks, past or present, reach out to tell you that they're gay or bi?
No.
Because you went to an all-boys school. You went to Linda's
Yes.
Lane College.
Yeah.
And so what years were you there? Was it in the 90s?
Yeah, so I was there, must have been 93 to 97.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I went to Palmerston North Boys High in the very late 80s. And I look back now and the homophobia was rife. Like every day someone would use the F word or the H word.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, I look back now and I'm sure I did it as well because everyone did it. It was just the go-to. So when I was at school, there was, say, 1,000 boys there. So on a conservative side, there'd be 50 gay boys. Or, maybe more likely 100 or 150. But not one person would ever identify as being gay because it was just like the homophobia was just that rife. It would be, it'd be the worst. Did you know then, like at high school age? Or were you still...
Yeah, no. I did. I reckon it was around about when I was maybe 15.
Yeah.
The example that sort of springs to my head is I remember friends and that, talking about how pretty or how gorgeous these girls are and that, and then in my head I'll be like, are they? But I don't find that.
Pamela Anderson? I don't know, I don't see it.
Okay, she's got nice hair.
Who was it for you? Because my co-host that I mentioned before, Mike Padu, he said for him it was like a David Hasselhoff Baywatch thing. He was like, it was the dudes in Baywatch that he was like, oh, okay, something's going on here. Was there any like celebrities for you that you remember?
No, not that I remember. But I think everyone watched Baywatch. Baywatch was probably quite a, how would you put it, like quite a for a gay or hetero person to watch, it was quite...
Yeah, it was just a very sexual show.
Yeah, that's the way.
Charged.
Yeah, anyone who's... Yeah, exactly. So you could watch it and take from what you'd like.
So you were so who did you come out to first? Like, was it your parents?
I came out to my parents first, and...
When was that?
That was, maybe when I was 22, 23, around that age. I can't quite remember.
Is that quite old? I feel like it's quite old by maybe today's...
Oh, you definitely
probably
would be old for today's standards. It probably was quite normal for back then.
Was that hard, plucking up the courage to do that? Or
well, I kind of made a track in my mind, a decision in my mind, and I had two options. I thought was because I love rugby.
Yeah.
It was either I stopped playing rugby, or two, I come out because I had all this anxiety building up, and then I looked at it and was like, well, number one's not going to happen because I love rugby too much, so I'm not going to stop playing rugby, so I guess I'm just going to have to tell someone. And so that was my thought process, and away I went, and I just sat down at dinner one night and told mum and dad, and it was, it was quite, I guess, surreal, really. It was almost like nothing had happened. And
like just underwhelming. But for you, I'm guessing it took a lot of courage to get to that moment.
Yeah.
So you were building it up in your mind to be a massive...
You do. You just build up all this stuff which isn't really real. It's just all in your head. And when when it comes to the real stuff, it's just a bit of a letdown. In
the best way.
The best way. It was like I just told them we run out of milk and go get some. And I think mothers always know, and mum was like, oh, yeah, okay. Kind of new. And I was like, no, you didn't.
And your dad, was he kind of the same?
Yeah, Dad, nothing phases him. I'm very lucky that my parents are very laid back and very, very grounded people, and they just carry on.
Yeah, that's so cool. Because I have got some friends that when they told their parents, especially one friend of mine that's quite religious, like his parents' initial reaction was like shock and horror, and they wanted to get the Bible to pray for their son, but they thought out in time. Often it just takes there's an initial shock period and it takes time.
Yeah, I think everyone. I think you've got to when you do something like that or you go for it. I mean, you've got to also be prepared that you've got to give time for people to process the information you've given them. I mean, some people process quickly, some people process slowly, and I think if you're aware and you give people the time and the space, then most people come to the logical conclusion.
So you may want to tell me to piss off for this one. Your early sexual encounters, guys or girls?
It was girls early, yeah.
What, just like trying to sort of convince yourself, or trying to override the?
Oh, I guess just towing the line, really.
Yeah.
Just trying to conform to that ideal world. Yeah. It's a crazy thought, that one, eh? Yeah, it is.
It's a crazy thought, because it's like that's the norm. So even though you know in your DNA it's not what you're into, but you want to force yourself to be into it.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, and I guess it's all a part of experimenting and finding out, and I guess it's a part of also just clarifying and reassuring in your mind that it is
what it
is, and it's definitely not that you like, and it's the other space that you like. I mean, I think everyone probably goes through that thought process and that exploring, on numerous occasions when they're going through it.
Yeah, and who did you have to look? I'm guessing like one of the only person I can think of that you'd have to look up to, like a hard man in sport that was gay, was Ian Roberts. The Manly Sea Eagles league player from the 90s. Yeah. I mean, was there anyone else? Anyone else that you could identify with that was like gay and successful in a contact sport?
Yeah, no, I don't think there was anyone else. I remember Gareth Thomas came out, the
Welsh guy,
rugby guy, but I can't remember when he came out. I can't remember the exact dates on that, but Ian Roberts was a big one. Because he was a tough
he was hard
player.
man. He was uncompromising.
Yeah.
He was a badass.
Yeah.
So your partner, who you've been with for like a year and a half, he's sitting in the other room just watching this. How did you guys meet?
We met a few years ago at a bar in Cambridge, and then we've been sort of friends ever since, and we've both lived overseas, and we still lived overseas separately in separate lives, and then both have come back, and that's been history now. Both come back and sort of picked things up. Really?
Yeah, that's fantastic. Was he part of the obviously you discussed him, doing the 7 Sharp thing, and
he was
big
part of the discussion.
Drive.
And we talked about that and talked about how we'd pursue it, and obviously that was a part that we'd try and keep private, and because you've got to have some things private in this world and that. So but he's been really supportive, and couldn't ask anything more from someone.
Yeah. Did you ever dabble in the apps? You ever go on Grindr or anything like that?
Right. I think every gay guy dabbles in Grindr. I think it's just one of these things. It's an interesting app. But,
did you ever like a type? You can. They have like a selection, and you can tick your type. There's like beer, twink, discreet, leather, rugged. Pause. What's a pause? Do you know what a pause is?
I don't know. I don't know. Sorry, mate.
But did you ever type?
I don't know. No, I never. I don't think you. Probably when I dabbled in it was a few years ago, and I don't know if you could do that.
They didn't have that. Yeah.
Or maybe you had to pay for that.
Maybe I'm on premium.
Maybe on premium.
Well, I have a very specific. I think I'm 100% heterosexual, but that was until winter of 2004 when Dan Carter did the jockey campaign. And then I had some questions about my own sexuality.
Funny story about Grindr is that I played for, in France, I played for Biarritz Olympic, the Bayo, the team in the top 14.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 years ago, I think it's 2 years ago, they got a new jersey and short sponsor, and it's Grindr. So it's Grindr on their shorts and Grindr on their jersey.
The app.
The gay app. And I got these, and I got texts from my friends that I played with in Biarritz and rugby mates like saying, "What have you done?" This was like a couple of years ago, and texting like, "Man, you would have loved to be there now. You would have got a free script and all this."
Premium, like gold member subscription.
Yeah. So it's quite. Yeah, it was quite funny to see that, especially it's plastered on the back of their shorts, Grindr.
Oh, how good! That's better than More FM on the Crusaders shorts, isn't it? Let's talk about your rugby career. So, were you like naturally good, or did you just work really hard?
I think it was probably a combination of both, but more so probably more hard work. Really, I mean, because I wasn't a big guy, so I had to. Work hard to be big. I wasn't the most skilled person on the field, so I kind of had to find a position that at the time wasn't as skill based as in with hand-eye coordination, but was more technical based, and I found I was able to pick up technique and learn technical based things a lot easier and be able to strengthen my game through scrummaging and things like that.
Well, that's interesting. So are you sort of saying you just had this like red hot burning desire to be a really good rugby player, and ideally you would have been like a number 10 or something, but you didn't have the skills, so you just made yourself big so you could get in the team somehow?
So
wow.
basically I just had this desire and people knew that, like coaches knew that all I wanted to do and was play the game. My parents knew, and like, for example, my dad would, if I didn't get when I was younger, if our games were called off because of the rain or something like that, I was just the worst kid to have in the house. Like, it was just a nightmare. I'd hate to be around me. And so my dad would, he was obviously frustrated and angry and was like, I've got to get this kid out of the house. And he would ring round friends and other grades higher and say, "Oh, here you going, so-and-so, do you need a player? Do you need an extra one?" "Oh, yeah, no, we could. Yep. Okay, I'll bring him down straight away." And then he'd get me games on the weekend when there were no games, so I was pretty lucky. And then with the changing of position, because I used to play number 8, and then first 15 coach at Lindisfarne, Grant Gilbert, in a polite way said that you're not going to be tall enough and you're probably not going to be big enough to play number 8, and he said, and you need a little bit of work on your skills, but basically I wasn't skillful enough to play number 8. He said, how about you try the front row? And he said that would be probably something you'd enjoy, and handed me a magazine that they had done a feature article on the prop Jason Leonard, who was an English prop, and he was highly regarded as one of the best props in the business at the time, and he had a big article and all these hints and techniques and all that, and so I read that, came back and said, yeah, okay, I'm going to do that, and then just pursued it.
That is amazing. It's an unsexy position, isn't it? Like you do all the work and you get zero glory. Like,
that's true.
It is. It's a horrible
true.
job being a prop.
Yeah.
That's an amazing. God, you and me, our childhood paths were very different. I was made to play like barefoot rugby when I was a kid by my parents, and I would just we were a religious family, and I would pray to Jesus on Sunday morning that we'd listen to the cancellations on the radio, and I'd pray that it'd be cancelled so I could stay at home in front of the gas heater and watch What Now.
Oh, so you got my games cancelled. I was wondering who did that.
Yeah. Oh no, I hated it. I had pockets with shorts on. The coach got Mum to sew them up because it was so cold. I'd have my hands in my pockets. Yeah. You and me, very, very different upbringings.
Yeah.
Okay, so where was that? Hawke's Bay? Hawke's Bay you grew up?
Hawke's Bay. Waipakarau out in the country, Wanstead. So it was about half an hour out of Waipak.
Right. Did you know Israel Dag and is that Guildford? I think he was from that area as well, weren't they? About the same age as you?
No, they're a little bit older, but I did know Israel a little bit because he went to the same school. He went to Lindisfarne, the same. So we sort of, I was well out of school by then, but we sort of crossed paths on a few things and that.
Yeah.
And and Zach, he was coming into the Crusaders in Canterbury at the time I was just sort of leaving. So
you didn't know him through Hawke's Bay connections or anything?
No.
So when did you start realising you were really good and the prop thing was going to work for you?
That's a good question. I'm not too sure. It was probably like when I played the first 15 and at school and then made a few teams and I was making rep teams as a prop. I was sort of realising, so this is working out. So it would have been maybe at school and that I sort of thought this was going to work out. But to be honest, like even if I didn't make teams, I still would have kept pursuing it because I just had this, I guess you call it a pig-headed attitude that I'm going to make this work no matter what.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, I guess you love rugby that much. Even if you couldn't make it to the professional level, you would have kept playing it. But what would you have been doing? What was Plan B?
So I didn't make rugby. I went down. I studied at Lincoln University, and I did a BCom in valuation and property management.
You are way too smart to be a prop.
All props are smart, right? All smart ones, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you've got to defend your type.
Yeah. And then so I suppose I would have pursued that a lot more, and if not that, then maybe said on a previous podcast, then maybe I'd be working on some fishing charters, taking people deep sea fishing. Sounds like a pretty good job.
Oh, it doesn't sound like a bad job. Isn't that what Carl Heyman's doing?
Could be, yeah.
I think he's doing something like that. You were in the Crusaders first? Was that the first? What was the
Canterbury,
first?
Canterbury, and then Crusaders. Yeah, so that was that.
Oh, so that was when you were still studying at Lincoln.
I was coming to the end of my degree. I was 21, so I was just finishing up, maybe graduating, maybe half a year or something to fix up.
Yeah. So what year was that you first made Canterbury?
21 or 22 around there. 2001 and 2002. So.
Okay. So who was the coach and who were you playing? Was it Robbie Deans? No.
So the first coach of Canterbury was I think it was Ozzie McLean, and I think Ian Mallard, and also I think Rob Penny. I can't remember. It was a combination of those three. It was definitely Rob Penny for the remainder of my time with Canterbury, and then with the Crusaders was Robbie Deans, and that year was I think it was Don Hayes.
Right.
And then Don Hayes moved on, and then Vern Cotter came in and was there for the 3 or 4 years, and then I think Mark Hammett was my last year. Yeah, but Robbie Deans was the constant. Yeah,
how was he? How influential was he on your career?
He was awesome. Like Robbie's an awesome coach. He has an amazing ability of bringing a team together, like creating a culture, theming of a team, and just getting everyone on the same page and everyone working towards the same goal. He was incredible.
Mm. Yeah. Why what happened with him in Australia? Why did he suck so much over there? Was that intentional on his part, do you think?
Maybe it was intentional to make New Zealand rugby better. He's just a loyal guy. No, I don't know, and all I can look at is that it was a combination, because if you always look at the Australian super teams, their super teams actually do quite well, and they've got really good players, but for some reason when you put them all together in the Australian team, they just don't doesn't seem like they gel together very well.
Not as cohesive.
Yeah, which is it's kind of bizarre. I don't know. Yeah, but it would have been a tough time for Robbie and a tough gig to do. But
Oh, and I remember at the time it was the media made it out to be this like a huge grudge match, like Ted versus Robbie, didn't they?
Yeah.
It was like one coach against the other, which must have been incredibly stressful for both of them.
Oh, exactly. I mean, he's Robbie pursuing his career and a passion, and he probably he wanted to coach international, and he wasn't given the opportunity with the All Blacks, so he took another international job. Which is everyone in their own fields always want to pursue higher honours and pursue more challenges. So yeah, you just have to let people do that. It's like players when they go overseas, they more or less want to go because they need a new challenge, need a refreshing start, or or they want to just test the waters in another competition. Yeah.
So did you play with Scott Razor Robertson? Did your careers overlap, or was he before?
Yeah,
you?
they overlapped in his last year or 2 years, and when I was starting. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How was he? What was he like?
Awesome.
Because you see him now as a coach, and I know the breakdancing thing he keeps to a minimum now, and I really hope he doesn't lose that when he is the All Black coach, because I think it's wonderful and beautiful. I know there's some old purists that you'll hear on talkback that say that he's not fit to be a coach for that reason, which is just dumb.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine how much fun he was as a player.
Yeah, no, he was a great guy. Like he all that energy that you see with him with his team, and that as a player. You could probably times that by 20 when he was a player. He just so much energy and so much life about him, and just so positive. It's just he's just incredible, and I think it's a great opportunity, and it's a great way that maybe New Zealand rugby and rugby public we can maybe put some life into the press conferences after the games.
Oh, he's a unique character, isn't he?
And the other thing is, like, I'm actually really happy for Scott, and because the other thing is how hard he has worked to get where he has. Like, I don't think many people know. Like, he coached some of the rugby club in Christchurch for many years, and he just learned the trade of coaching and turned up and helped schools, and he helped the Canterbury team with tackling and that, all in positions that weren't paid. It was just giving up his time to just perfect his skill and his ability, and to pursue a dream that he wanted, was to be a professional coach and to be coaching the Crusaders and where he is now. So it's just awesome to see his dream and goals through hard work. He's achieved it. Yeah.
Do you have any old memories about him that you're able to share? Is there anything that springs to mind?
No.
You're closing ranks. I reckon you've got something. You're just not sharing it.
No, I don't have anything. You've always got to be careful when you share things, because others have information on you.
Oh yeah, it's an exchange. It's an exchange. Okay, so you're then you're in Canterbury, and then Super Rugby. How many Super Rugby titles did you win?
3. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah. What's that like, winning your first Super Rugby title?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty cool. Like, it's an awesome feeling. Especially because you're doing something that all your teammates and you have all brought into. You've all bought into the same idea. We've all been on the same path, the same road. You've gone through all the same struggles. The pre-season, the trainings, everything. You've experienced highs and lows, and then you finally come out on top. So it's really awesome. Yeah,
because your career has overlapped with some of the best New Zealand rugby players that we've ever seen. You played with Dan and Richie as well.
Yeah. No, I was very lucky to play with so many good players and so many skillful players. And it's funny because you play with good players, and they make you look good.
Yeah, so that must have been early in Richie's career, or sort of in the middle of his career?
No, it was in the same. Like, Richie and I were around the same age, so it was around the same age. We played age grade together as well, under 19s and Colts. And he's in under 21s as well. So all in the same age group.
I'm not even going to ask you if you've got any Richie stories, because I think I saw this maybe this was in his movie Chasing Great, or maybe it was in the Dan Carter movie, but Dan said somewhere on the record that the only conversations he ever had with Richie when they were in the All Blacks together were rugby related. He was like that hyper fixated on his job as captain and the job in hand. Was that your experience with Richie?
He was he's super focused and such a role model, such a leader that you only can be inspired and motivated by him. He's a really amazing guy.
Yeah, incredible. One of the best, right?
Yeah.
And in terms of staying fit after career, you and him are probably two of the fittest, right? In terms of like trimming down and looking like shadows of your former self.
Yeah. I'd say he'd be a lot fitter than me. He's out doing adventure running and racing and all that. I don't tend to get out and do that too much.
What do you do these days? What are you doing to keep in shape? Looks like you hit the gym a little bit.
I do, a little bit of gym. That's really about it. And then just don't eat so much.
Well, to be a prop, you have to eat a lot of food.
Yeah. Well, especially for me, it was an incredible amount of food. Like I used to have to set an alarm at midnight and drink a protein shake in the middle of the night, just to try and keep the weight.
When, like on game week or just all?
Every day.
Actually.
Yeah. I didn't go out to the kitchen and use the blender and blend it up and wake up the whole house.
Oh, you had it made and like sitting next to the bed, or you still take protein now?
A little bit just after gym and that, but not too much. I've sort of drifted away from eating so much. It's it's been quite relaxing not having to shove food into your mouth every 2 hours.
Oh, I bet. Well, I'm not sure what you take now, but Radix Nutrition do some of the best proteins on the market, and I highly swear by their banana and their coconut flavour in particular. I'll tell you what, we'll get you some.
Oh, thank you. Sounds good.
They sponsor the podcast. So what does an average day look like when you're a prop in terms of diet? So protein shake at midnight.
Well, we probably start at breakfast, and the breakfast I used to start with oatmeal porridge and 2 boiled eggs. And a protein shake, and then go off to training. Then at training we've got snacks throughout the day, throughout the training morning. So you probably have another protein shake in there as well, plus some tuna and crackers. I think is always there, and then be a lunch. There'd be chicken or some sort of protein meat, and with some carbs, and then there'd probably be another shake just to add another level to it, and then probably be another snack in the afternoon, and then dinner, and then another snack.
Oh my God, I'm exhausted. I feel sick just hearing
another
this.
snack before bed, and then wake up and have a protein shake at midnight.
Oh my God, that's awful. So who were you flirting with at the time? Kieran Reid mentioned you were flirting with Scott Hamilton, who was...
so that would have been in 2002. It was Scott Hamilton and big Kevin O'Neill. Kevin O'Neill was a Crusader lock and All Black. We flat.
The NutriBullet must have been getting a workout in that flat.
It was.
Amazing. Okay, and then how many did we decide? Three Super Rugby titles, which is phenomenal. And then the All Black career, All Black number 1,056.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And again, as I said before, when I went to Boys High, about 1,000 boys there. Apparently 0 boys were gay at that time. So the All Blacks as well, you'd have to assume out of, you're the first to come out openly as gay at number 1,056, but there must have been many, many more before then who, for whatever reason, the time wasn't right.
The statistics are an interesting thing, but, you can't hang your hat on them. I mean, could have been there might not have been one, people might have not continued playing the sport or something like that.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Reality, it could be only one, but as you said, statistically speaking, it's not true. It might be me.
Yeah. And so, do you remember that moment? Like, are you in the All Black frame? Like, do you feel like you're a shot when the selection's announced? Or how does that happen? What's that moment? Must be a bloody special moment.
Yeah, it was. So it was in Napier, and we just done the All Black trial. You know, I think it was the possibles versus the probables.
That's right.
Yeah,
Back in the day.
So that was back in 2005, and we'd done the trial match. I remember coming off the game thinking, oh yeah, no, I ran around, I thought I'd had a pretty good game, and
Who were you marking? Who was your opposite? It was like Kevin Mialamu, maybe.
I think Kevin was in my team. He was the hooker for the team. I was rooming with Kevin actually. Yeah, I roomed with him that whole week, I think. And then I think it might have been Carl Hoft came on and said, I can't remember who was on the. It's all quite a blur, but the naming was. After the game, all the players from both teams are in a room, and they name the team, the All Black squad, to the players.
Immediately afterwards.
Yeah, it was like 2 hours.
Wow.
You had something to eat, and you went back to the hotels. Were all there, and they all gathered, and then they just named the team. It must have been around about 11:30 at night. And they said, "Look, this is the squad, and these are the people who are going to Auckland to prepare. The rest of you will be going to your home destinations."
God, it's like an episode of X Factor, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And we're not publicly announcing it until tomorrow, so don't say the media or anyone. But you can tell your loved ones and that. So yeah, that was how that happened.
Was that sort of pre-social? Must have been pre-social media. I feel like they wouldn't have that sort of level of trust now.
No way. Yeah, there was no one Snapchatting it or
posting it on Instagram. Wow. So you find out that must be an exciting moment. And then what happened? Who do you tell? Who are your loved ones that you tell?
Well, because it was in Napier. Obviously, my parents were, because I came from Napier. My parents were there, so I went round to mum and dad's and I told them, and again it was just it was almost like I told them we'd run out of milk. It was just
underwhelming again.
Just underwhelming.
Oh my God! What gets those people excited?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, mum was probably more happier than dad, and mum gave me a hug, and dad famously he carried on talking about that. I remember the topic because he carried on talking about the reason why the ducks aren't breeding down by the ponds is because all these people keep feeding them bread, and mum was like, oh, your son's just made the All Black. Dad was like, yes.
That's amazing. Is your dad? Is he a farmer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It sounds like a farmer. It's hard to get them impressed about anything.
Oh yeah, no, he was impressed.
Right.
And then, when I talk about this to them, they claim that wasn't how it happened.
Fake
no,
news.
we heard you. It was not like that. We were excited. I was like, oh yeah, just like how I told you I was gay. Like, oh no, we were like that.
How many? You're one of how many kids?
I've got 2 older brothers and one sister.
Right. And have you seen your parents get emotional about it? Like when your sister got married, I'm assuming she's got married. Did your dad cry? Or is he? Have you ever seen him show emotion? I find guys like all I'm basing this on is my Uncle John, who's a dairy farmer. Like he was very, very stoic, like the hardest man you could ever meet. But as he got older, he got soft around the edges and shows a bit of vulnerability now.
Oh yeah, now he's older. He's definitely shows a bit of emotion now. But
when was the last time he told you he loves you? Is he an emotional guy like that?
Oh yeah, no, he'll say that. Yeah. But because we're a family, we didn't really say that. I mean, we always knew. It was always
unspoken.
It was unspoken. You didn't have to, but but I think Mum always wanted us to say it, and then one day I think Dad said it, and then I said it back, and then Mum was like, "Oh, finally!" And I said, "Well, Dad said it, so I guess I can."
He said it first.
Yeah.
How old were you then?
Oh, maybe 40 years old.
Oh my God! Wow!
No,
how old are you now?
Kidding.
Oh,
just kidding.
But are you? I don't know.
Yeah, no. I am kidding. No. It was many years ago. It was finally it was all broken and everyone said it. Yeah, but cool. It was one of these things like you didn't have to say it. It was an unwritten
Yeah. Actions speak louder than words, as they say. Okay, so you make the All Blacks. Is your first test against Fiji or the Lions?
No, Fiji, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a question to ask you. So you didn't start. You came on late in the game. How many minutes did you play?
I think I came on for about 30 minutes.
Okay,
I think.
all right. Okay, so you played almost half the game. The All Blacks won that game 91-0. How did you manage to not score a try?
Well, I think it just comes back to the position I was playing in a prop. And
Greg Somerville and Kevin Mialamu, they scored in that game.
Yeah. No, they were gifted those tries. I think I helped set them up.
Yeah. So what's that like? Your first All Black game? Is your stomach churning? Are you like?
Yeah, no, it's all I can sum it up is just with just pure excitement for me. It was just pure excitement. Just here was the black jersey that I'd been wanting and striving for so long was just finally in my hands, and it was just absolute excitement.
What's that ritual? You get the jersey. Is it the day before, the morning of?
No, this one was hanging up in your locker as you come in to the stadium. So when you come into the stadium, you see your locker, your number, where you sit, and it's there. Yeah.
Wow.
It's hanging there.
And when you're not starting, do you get to go out and sing the anthem? You don't do the haka though.
No, you do the whole lot. You
Yep.
do the haka, you do the anthem, and then you come back off the field and put your tracksuit back on and sit down.
Are you in hindsight? Are you happy with your haka performance? Room for improvement?
Yeah, there's always room for improvement.
That's got to be the scariest thing. Like rugby's what you do, and it's an instinct thing, right? And you've earned that spot, and you've earned the jersey, but then you have to learn the haka, and I'm guessing that doesn't necessarily come naturally.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I think every kid in New Zealand knows the haka, and I did know kamati, but for the life of me, and why it had to be when I made the All Blacks, they decided to bring in the new haka, and I had to learn a whole new one. So, and I'm, dancing and coordination's not the best thing at any given moment, and so I had in my head, right, okay, I've got kamati down, so we should be able to get through this. And next minute they go, oh, we're going to learn a new one, the kapa, I forget what the name of it is, but we're going to do the new haka, and we're all going to learn it. And I was just like, oh, no.
Another thing to worry about.
I can't learn any dance moves. How am I going to learn this? I'm watching it.
Yeah, they hide you in the back somewhere?
Yeah, they did. And, we had these haka trainings and that in the evenings and that, and then the not so good kids had to stay behind and do extras, and then the not so goods from that group had to do extras, and then so I was running into the midnight still learning it.
Who was your roommate? Can you remember who your roommate was for that first All Black game?
It was Anton Oliver.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, what are your recollections and memories from that first sort of All Black camp and that first game?
It was just excitement. I mean, it was just one of the most intense trainings. This is how intense training was. Like it would go for like 40 minutes, just so sharp, fast, bang, boom, done on the bus, and just the pressure. Not the pressure, but just the desire by everyone to actually fine-tune their skills and their abilities, so they don't let the team down or don't let your teammates down. Yeah, it's pretty special.
Yeah, that's amazing. Who was the coach at the time? Was that Wayne Smith? No,
no. Wayne Smith was there. It was Graham Henry,
Okay.
Wayne Smith, Graham Henry, Steve Hansen.
Right. Wow. Wow. Yeah, three of the goats.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So back then, do they know about your sexuality? Do all the players know? Is it like an elephant in the room? Like looking back now, is it an elephant in the room sort of thing, or does everyone know and it's just unspoken?
A few people knew. Probably not everyone.
You just confide in some people, or
just confide in some people, and then people just keep it private and that. And to be honest, like that environment, you're so focused on the upcoming game, and that there's no time to think about anything else. Like it's just full on rugby, which is awesome, but there's just absolutely no time to dwell or to think. You
worry about that. So, cool, mate. Good for you.
Yeah.
Learn the fucking haka.
Yeah. You've still got to get the haka down pat.
Mate, bingo. Don't even worry about that.
Yeah.
So you confide in some people and they're fine with it. Does that not give you like the comfort and security to think, okay, if I come out now publicly, it'll, everyone's going to be okay with it? No.
No, not for me, because I was still, like, the reason why I came out to people was to just take away that anxiety and that stress from me, and that was enough at the time. And I still was uneasy about it, in my own self. Like, I still wasn't 100%, happy with me as that person. So to come out publicly would have been a massive step that I probably wouldn't have been able to handle at the time.
Did it take its toll on your mental health over the years? Like, hang on to the secret, or not really? I touched upon therapy before, and you said you've never done any therapy.
No, I don't think it did.
No.
I kind of turned it into more of a driving force.
In what way?
In the way that if I had a bad game, I'd blame it on my gay side, or it's because I was gay. I'd blame it that, and that would motivate me to train harder. So in a real strange sense, it became like a driving force behind me to achieve what I wanted. But as we all know, that's
unhealthy.
It's really unhealthy, and it's never going to end well.
It's like running away from it in a way.
Yeah. So there's that, and that was why I decided to come out to a few people so I could get that off and clear that up and move forward with it, which has been better.
Yeah, awesome.
Because there's a lot better ways to motivate yourself than
whatever works though. No, you're self-loathing. It's not the best way, isn't it? Richie didn't get to 148 tests by self-loathing. So then you have two other tests against the British Lions. So unbeaten in your All Black career, three games.
Yeah.
What are your recollections of those games?
The British and Irish Lions was incredible. Like, just the whole campaign was amazing.
Is that when Johnny Wilkinson was in the team? Was like the best player in the world at the time.
I think he was. Yeah. The team. Yeah. There was a lot of people, and it was it was like the I guess the litmus test for the New Zealand for hosting the World Cup was to be able to see if we could handle our infrastructures and systems, and our stadiums could handle the British and Irish Lions, would then that help us to host the World Cup.
Yeah.
So it was really, really awesome. Like, and the people that came out from the United Kingdom was incredible, and then just being able to test yourself in that field against the best of United Kingdom and Ireland, was pretty special.
Yeah, absolutely. And the three jerseys, did you swap them, or you still have them now? What have you done with them?
I still have them. Yeah, they're at home. My parents have them, so I didn't
framed on a wall or in a box somewhere, or
I think one is framed and it sits in the wardrobe.
What do you mean in the wardrobe? In the closet?
In the wardrobe, in the closet. Yeah, it's not allowed to come out.
It'll come out when it's good and ready.
Yeah, it's just taking its time.
Don't rush these things.
Yeah. And the other jerseys are in a I think they're in a chest, I think.
Yeah, amazing. They mean something to you, or?
Yeah. I every time I go down to my parents, I always have a look at them. Yeah.
Do you actually?
Yeah. Yeah. It's always nice to have a look and see them.
And what do you think when you look at them? Just like, is it like a fuck yeah moment, or holy shit, these are mine?
Yeah. It's just a look. You just sort of think about the time and how good it was, and and how awesome the All Blacks are, and New Zealand rugby and things like that, and it's a pretty you were pretty fortunate, pretty cool country.
It's really cool to hear that they mean that much to you, even after all these years.
Yeah.
Because I suppose there's two ways of looking at it. You could think I'm bloody lucky because I had this opportunity and I've got 3 All Black Test jerseys. Or you could think I'm unlucky because I've only got 3 All Black Test jerseys. Is there a part of you that thinks like that?
There always will be. There's always that I guess regret that I didn't reset my goals, that I didn't reset my goals to go to stay and be a great All Black and not just be happy to have made it, because I fell into that trap of probably complacency. I'd made the team, and then I was like, oh, team, yep, made it, done, cool.
Job done.
Job done. Went to sleep, and then next thing Ted's having a conversation to you, telling you that you're not coming back next week.
Wow. What, did you play a bad game or?
No, it was the end of the Lions series, and they had a meeting with me saying, these are the things we want you to go away and work on. We're building for a World Cup, and we want to probably have a look at a few other players, but we need you to work on these things. Want you to go back to your provincial union and work on those, and we'll address it in the future. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right,
and you went away and you didn't address the things, or?
Oh no, yeah, you go away and try and address them, and then but yeah. And then it just comes down to the selector's choice and that.
So you do everything that's in your power, but it's... Yeah. Because I heard, I think it was an interview with Beaver, Stephen Donald, and he talked about, because you mentioned the Great All Black thing, and he said, when you become an All Black, they start drumming into you that you should strive to be a Great All Black. And he said... First time he heard that, he's looking around the room and he sees Dan Carter and he sees Aaron Cruden and whoever else. He goes, well, I'm fucked. I'm never going to be a great All Black.
Well, he is a great All Black.
Yeah.
we have a lot to thank.
Well, 100% we do. So what's Graham Henry like? Is he intimidating to be around? Like when he walks into the room, do you find yourself... you feel like a schoolboy at school that's sitting up for the school principal, or is he quite friendly and disarming?
He's good. No, he's very friendly, very approachable, and he commands respect when he comes into a room, and everyone listens and does what he tells you. But he's a great guy. Yeah.
Who would be you? Do you have like a best coach or a favourite coach through your career? Who's been the most influential?
That's a good question.
Robbie.
Yeah, Robbie was influential in the sense of he was the overall coach. Rob Penny in Canterbury, he was very influential in my career as well, because he was a forge coach as well. So he helped me a lot with just general awareness around the field and things like that. So I actually think every coach I've had has had their own bit of influence in my career and the way I played, and because I think I was very fortunate to have some countless amazing coaches, and they've all influenced the way I've played in certain aspects really well with me, and I've been lucky enough to be able to get that knowledge, and been fortunate enough to be able to absorb that knowledge and take it on board.
Yeah.
There's one thing people give you the knowledge, and the other thing is to accept and take it on board, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. You think of the coaches you've had and the players that you've been surrounded by, like some of the best that the world has ever seen in the sport. Yeah, it's incredible, eh?
Yeah, very lucky.
And outside of rugby, how's the second half of your life looking for you? Do you hope to get married at some point? You want to get married at some point?
Oh, we'll see how things go, I guess. See how things track along. But yeah, outside at the moment, things are going pretty well. Life's pretty good.
And what about a family at some point? Like obviously, that comes with a set of hurdles and things.
Yeah, I haven't really. We haven't really discussed that part that much, and not too sure about that one. Never really thought about that.
I mean, I've had fertility struggles, so I can't have kids of my own. So I always sort of imagined that I'd have my own family, and then when it doesn't happen, you have to sort of reframe the second part of your life. But I suppose being a gay male, maybe you've never even sort of thought about kids. You just assumed it wouldn't be part of the plan.
I suppose. Yeah, I suppose in part of my life I did assume that it wouldn't be a part of the plan, but obviously, the way the world is now, and there's so many different avenues you can explore with, having kids, whether it be adopting kids or so what. There's so many more ways that it can be possible. So
100%. And if anyone's listening to this that's young or youngish, or actually even old and sort of grappling with their sexuality, like they know they're gay and that they haven't told anyone and they're not sure like how to go about it, like what would your message be?
My message would be just pretty much like it's there's no rules or there's no law about coming out. Like you don't have to. If you don't feel it's right, then you don't have to do it. But if you feel like you need to do it because you're under anxiety or stress, then look around and find someone that you think is safe or someone you can confide in. And even if it's just telling that one person might be enough for you. And if that's all you tell and for the rest of your life, then that's fine. That's your decision. But if you want to pursue and tell more people, then do it, and always make sure it's on your terms and in your best interest, not in what other people want or if other people are pushing you.
Has everything been done on your terms?
Yeah.
In hindsight, like things have played out pretty good. Would you have done anything different if you could rewind the clock?
No, I don't think so. I think it's all just it kind of is what it is, and it's all been taken with such love and respect and support has just been phenomenal. So I don't think we could have even painted described a scenario or mapped it out like this. So it's been really humbling.
Yeah, has there been any sort of negativity or anything?
Not that I can recall. I mean, there's always some negative, but
you'd have to be a special sort of person, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but in the same sentence, you've got to respect their opinion.
No, I disagree.
Yeah, you can disagree.
No.
But you've got to give some respect to people have their thing, and it comes down to timing as well. Like people take time to process things and that. So just an afterthought. So what were your thoughts, or what was going through your mind a couple of years ago when the Israel Folau stuff was going on? I can't really remember what was going on because I was in Europe, so I didn't really. I remember a friend texted me something about it, but it's.
I suppose if you're in Europe, you missed the whole news cycle here.
Yeah. So, but that's it's people's opinions and that, which we kind of always going to have. So it's just what is.
Yeah. God, I like it. God, you're so cruisy about these things, eh? Like there's a lot of other people, myself included, that'd be more outraged on your behalf. Like for anyone that's got a negative reaction to it, because it's like, why do you fucking care?
Yeah, but you can focus on that one person, or you can focus on the 100 or 200 other great messages and support and stories that people tell you. I mean, for me, it's so much easier to go through 100 great messages and reply to 100 messages that are about support than sit down and reply to one about that's been negative. So it doesn't even cross my mind to even look at that.
Yeah, but isn't it human nature that it's the negative one that jumps out from the page? I sort of find that with comments on my Instagram feed, it's like nice message, and then a mean message, and it's like what? Yeah. And then suddenly I'm stalking their profile and.
For me, not really.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm a little bit wide the other way. I see like a negative message is like, whoa, we really are reaching people. Like if they've taken their time and it's something they're not interested in, and they've taken the time to put a post up, then we've really made an impact. This is good.
Yeah,
let's keep going.
And were there any out of the thousands of messages of love and support that you got after doing the 7 Sharp thing, were there any messages that stand out and are sort of imprinted in your mind that they had that sort of impact on you?
There were a few, and the main underlining tone of those messages were people that had stopped playing a sport that they loved and were really passionate about for the reasons that they didn't feel safe, they didn't feel accepted in that sport, and their story was that now after my coming out and my story, it's given them a little bit of faith back into sport, and they're actually going to look at maybe watching it and becoming a fan again of that sport, or even participating again, and that's really cool to see that people are actually now thinking, oh, okay, I left a sport that I loved and enjoyed so much because of my sexuality, but now I think I can go back to it and really start enjoying it again, and that's something pretty cool.
Oh, it's powerful stuff. Do you hope we get to the point in your lifetime where people don't even have to come out?
Yeah.
You reckon it'll happen?
Yeah, I think so. I think we'll normalise it very, very, very quickly. Like I was talking to Lincoln University yesterday in their sociology class, I think, and we coined the fact about normalising it, and we looked at, for an example, how back in the 30s or 40 years ago, you saw, the wife or the woman in the kitchen doing most of the cooking.
Yeah.
And now you see men and the kids and everyone cooking, and it's because we've seen this steady normalisation of that, like guys are in the kitchen cooking. So we'll see that happen with sexuality as well, I believe. You'll see just a normalisation as people that are, growing up, even when they go through schools now, they're seeing more of it and more of it. So it's becoming very normal. So,
yeah. Has doing this interview in late January opened a new chapter of sort of life for you? Like you mentioned doing a speech in Christchurch yesterday. I've seen you on social media, rubbing shoulders with Ruby Tui.
She's wonderful. She's an awesome human being.
Yeah, did you know her before this?
I knew of her.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, she's incredible.
She's a
like,
weapon.
yeah, just and so much life, and she's got such a great smile. She lights up a whole room. She's just incredible. But yeah, no, we're doing a little bit of work around that sort of stuff, and just helping out and getting out there, and sort of just sort of continuing the vibe of just awareness and openness and a caring vibe that in sport, you can still have that combat, that competitive, that die-hard attitude on the field, but off the field, you can be vulnerable, you can be open, and if you're aware of what your teammates are going through, it'll actually make you stronger on the field.
Yeah. Well, I reckon that's probably a good way to finish.
Cool.
I love it.
Awesome.
Campbell Johnstone, CJ, thank you so much for coming over today, man. It's really nice to finally meet you and sit down with you, and thanks for being so open with your stories.
No, it's all right. It's all good. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. It's awesome.
I really appreciate it, man. Changing lives.
Yeah. Yep. It's all what it's about. People just being happy.
Yeah. Well, I hope your dad's happy. I hope the ducks aren't eating the bread anymore.
He is. Yeah, well, yeah. He's happy. Awesome. Thank you.